Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Green Room Podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Colin Mitchell. And Colin, today we're joined by JD Davis, North Texas Eagle, recruiting analyst and reporter for GoMeanGreen.com. JD, how are you today?
Good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Now, your day might be going well, JD. I don't know. But Colin has a new dog,
You do have a new dog.
and that's what we need to start the podcast with. So,
Okay.
Colin,
You're
let's
gonna make
see.
me mess up my camera already.
Yeah, let's see it.
Oh god. Oh god.
Let's see
Oh, there he
him.
is.
Let's see him.
What's up, Bandit?
Bandit is the name.
He's a scaredy cat. He's a rescue.
He's a rescue.
Those are the best dogs.
So Colin now has Maya and
Yep.
Bandit. For everybody keeping track at home, Maya's been a long time staple of the podcast since what, 2019, right, Colin?
2019.
I was there.
Yep, you were.
I remember those days.
Yeah, he's just
But
gonna pace for a little bit. He'll lie down eventually. He'll lie down eventually.
We had to get a dog update from Colin because I know that's been a big moment for Colin. He's been waiting for a second dog.
I have been.
I mean, you like 2 weeks ago, you said, "Hey, I might get a second dog."
Well, Norma really wanted the second dog.
Ah.
I was just like, okay.
And she leaves you. She goes to work or whatever.
Yeah.
She leaves you with
Yeah.
both dogs. That's how
Yeah.
that works.
But he's
Okay.
nice.
Okay. All right. There's the dog update for everybody. JD, we wanted to have you on because we had on Chandler Rogers last week, and we were like, how can we one up that?
Mm-hmm.
And you were the obvious choice here.
Absolutely.
As you continue to kill the game with your podcast and your videos and everything. So
I figured you were about to
welcome.
say there was like 8 people that told you no, and then you
Nope,
got to
nope,
me. So
nope. I've deleted all those DMs already. So you're on the list. You're high. But we haven't talked since our preseason podcast, right? The one we all did with Sonoy and everything.
Yep.
2-2 now. Obviously, all of our thoughts have been like recorded on how we think the season has gone. But for you, just in general, what are your overall thoughts on the season and how like you would look at it, big picture through 3 games?
yeah. So I mean, after game 1, it didn't go the way I thought it was, but I didn't. I wasn't as down after the Cal loss just because I felt like we all kind of underrated Cal. I did for sure. I think they're a much better team, and I think that the Pac-12 is showing this year that it may be their last year, but they're kind of going out with a bang. The FIU game, I think I was probably the most low after that game just because the way we played FIU, I think they are improved as well. But I think that, I think we play that team another, 10 times. I think we're going to be able to beat them 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 times moving forward.
Yeah.
Especially now the fact that, going to Ruston, I didn't think that was a game we had stood a chance just because Ruston's a hard place to win, and some great North Texas teams have not had success there. So,
the FIU game after that, it was like you started to wonder where the wins were going to come from.
Yeah.
That was the hard part.
And at that point, Abilene Christian was undefeated. So I'm like, you're sitting there looking at a 0-12, 1-11 season, and you're like, the sky is falling.
Yeah.
So them being able to go to Ruston, and it looks like we may have found a quarterback. Defense made some improvements, made some adjustments. So I think there was a lot of bright spots after the Ruston, and it gave us 2 weeks to kind of set back. And I think if you was going into the bye week 0-3, I think it would have been meltdown central on Go Mean Green Twitter, GoMeanGreen.com, everything. I mean, I think getting the win kind of put a good taste and kind of gave us some positives to move forward with.
What was your biggest takeaway from that La Tech win? Obviously, Chandler started and had a good performance, but was there anything else that kind of stuck out to you?
I mean, I know the defense is still a lot of people's concerned. I did enjoy seeing, us making some changes. You've seen some 4-man front. You've seen some, yes, we still gave up, the points at the end. So the box score doesn't look great, but watching the game, you've seen a pretty dominant defense that first quarter and being able to make some stops. And I think that's something we've always talked about especially with this kind of offense is, we don't need the 85 Bears. I mean, we really just need a team that can, get some 3-and-outs, get some turnovers. That's what kind of Coach Bennett always talked about was, we're not trying to shut anybody out. We just got to get some stops here and there to give the team a chance to win. So I think that was one of my main positive takeaways. But then, I think that definitely the main highlight is Chandler looked amazing. I mean, he looked really good. And then to listening to him with you guys, and then, in the press conference, he seems like a super mature veteran, I guess you could say. And then, now having 18 FBS starts under his belt, he's a proven leader, proven player. So it's kind of gave me even more optimism moving forward that, this could be the best quarterback situation we've had in a while at North Texas.
Yeah, I mean, to your point on the defense, I mentioned it before, but like they gave up 14 points through 3 quarters. It was really just the fourth quarter kind of collapse all around, which,
Yeah.
If the offense doesn't fumble, if they don't get the onside kick, like
Yeah.
those things don't happen. We're probably looking at a pretty comfortable, let's say 37, like 21 or 37, 24 or something like that win, or even 37, like a touchdown win. Like it didn't feel like I was gonna have to be worried about this game until I had to get worried about the game, and then I was like, all right, well, La Tech's gonna get this onside kick, and it just felt like sure enough everything was gonna go wrong. But I do think that that's the one. I just can't believe you lose to FIU. That's the one that's gonna come back to haunt me for a long time because.
Yeah.
Like you said, they shouldn't have lost that game. If they play them 10 more times, they beat them 9 times, especially if they have Chandler Rogers at quarterback. But
yeah, I mean, there were some big turnovers in that game
Yep.
that put the defense in some horrible spots and put us in a situation. I really do think that you can look at the last 6 quarters of Chandler Rogers as starting. I think if he starts at FIU game, it's a completely different scenario.
Yeah.
I don't think, if you have you prevent some of those turnovers, in their red zone. And I mean, that's a big difference. And like I said, I think maybe it was kind of the wake up call we needed to say that, Chandler's the guy to make that quarterback change. But yeah, you hate to lose that game, especially looking at the future schedule when you're trying to pick out 6 wins to get to a bowl. That's going to be a game that you can look back on and, man, we could have been 3-1 headed into conference. And I think that's still getting there 2-2 is a lot better than, some of us were predicting a couple weeks ago after that game. But still, yeah, I think that's one you're going to look back on the calendar and say, you hate to give that one up.
It's easy to say in hindsight, but I think it's almost a good thing that they lost to FIU, because if they won, then we have Stone Earl starting at La Tech, and it's just the decision is delayed.
Yeah.
Everything would have been delayed. Like the defensive side of the ball, the defensive changes would have been perhaps delayed a little bit. Like everything, things happen for a reason. That's why we said it, I think last podcast, it was like, look, you made the mistakes, whatever, defense, offensively, you're going to lose a game you're not supposed to lose with the new coaching staff because you just don't know what you have and you don't know what you're supposed to do. And this is a prime example of that. Obviously you want to win it. And as fans, we want them to win those type of games where you're a 10-point favorite, but it happens. And then you go out and win against La Tech, who was favored. So it all works out at the end. This Abilene Christian game will be interesting. We can talk about that briefly. Don't need to spend an hour on it, but JD, what do you want to see from this team against Abilene Christian?
I'd like to see, I think the defense, we saw a huge progression between, FIU at La Tech. Now they've had 2 weeks to kind of even step back a little further, maybe input some new stuff in that. So I would love to see us kind of have a pretty dominating performance on that side of the ball. I think in the Seth era, we played some FCS schools and we gave up quite a bit of points. 20, that 25 plus range. So I would love for us to be able to keep them below 21 points. I think that would be a plus. But then I think just kind of seeing Rogers' progression with this offense, seeing the running game continue to improve and take off, and just like I said, I think the team's got way more confidence obviously now than they've had any part of the season. But kind of expand that a little bit because you got a tough opponent, that next week against Navy. So definitely, I think confidence building and getting this kind of, like I said, progression on both sides of the ball, or kind of all 3 phases, if you want to say, is the most key thing I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with everything you said. I think the biggest thing for me is just, like you said, with the defense, make sure that you make this a convincing win. I don't want it to be if FIU flip script of 46-39 win over ACU or anything like that. I want it to be, where we put up the amount of points we're supposed to put up and that we don't let them score more than, like you said, 21 or something like that. So
The interesting, well, hopefully, Bailey Zappi and Houston Baptist aren't walking through that door
They
like
just
they were a
lost
few
really
years,
bad to Central Arkansas. So
like they were. Yeah, so it's I'm not an Abilene Christian expert. I don't think any of us are, but
no.
going into last week, I was like, all right, this is a team that blew out Prairie View, Northern Colorado, and hung with Incarnate Word, who is a very good FCS program, as we know. So through 3 weeks, I was looking at it like it's not going to be a
Tough.
loss, but it's not going to be an easy game.
Yeah.
Like it'll be 2 touchdowns or so. Coming off last week against Central Arkansas, and I know Central Arkansas is not a bad team, but to allow Abilene Christian allows Central Arkansas to finish the game with 594 yards, 8.4 yards per carry, only 214 yards passing because they didn't have to throw the ball. But that type of game, I'm like, okay, North Texas should be able to jump on them offensively. And if you just don't turn the ball over, like this game you should be able to put this game away. This shouldn't be that close. So that Central Arkansas game, again, I'm not saying I watched it or did a film breakdown on it, but the way that any team that's able to run the ball for over 8 yards a carry on you is alarming. So I feel good about that going into it.
I think, like y'all said, I think our offensive is going to get theirs. I just don't want to. I think worst case scenario is, you getting kind of a shootout with one of these teams. Because, they do have a very good quarterback. I think we've talked about it quite a bit. Texas Tech transfer, Maverick. Eric recruited him there. He was North Texas recruited him. He was, highly sought after recruit. I think he's a very good quarterback. But yeah, that's what I don't want to happen is, like I said, I know that I think our offense is going to have a great day. I just don't want to get, touchdown, and you look up and, we're hitting the over, 70 whatever points it is. So
Yeah.
I would say that would be, worst case scenario for me.
Yeah. All right. Anything else on this game, Colin, or anything?
So.
I didn't even say what I want to see. Yeah, I think defensively, that's all I really care about in this game. I mean, on one hand, I do want to see the offense obviously put up 50 points, yes, but I think there is a sense of maybe not wanting to show everything that you worked on over the bye week against Abilene Christian, especially with conference starting up. So if they only win the game, let's say 35-14, I'm not going to panic too much. It's about the defense for me. The defense holding Abilene Christian to under 17 and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's really all I'm focused on, right? And tackling is the main thing. So, all right. We got one more game, one more thing to talk about, and it's a game, JD. And I sent this to Colin. I don't know if you read the.
I did read it.
The write-up. Okay, good. Prepared. It's called "Who Should Have Stayed," with the transfers out, the departing transfers from North Texas this offseason. Now, none of this is to disparage them because I do believe that the transfer portal is a good thing and that players should have the opportunity to leave. And I honestly think a lot of these players probably made, in most situations, maybe the right decision to leave to have a chance. But damn, this is overwhelming. This is incredible. And I'm sure you've looked at this before, JD, but we have the stats here and everything. We have 7 players that transferred out from North Texas to bigger programs. And so I want to ask, should they have stayed, which in most cases it's obvious, but then what would their stats have been if they had stayed at North Texas, or how significant would they have been? And that's the interesting part to me. So we'll start with Jair Shorter at Auburn, who's actually on the 2 deep and getting some run. The problem is Auburn can't throw the ball to save its life. Like Peyton Thorne, Robbie Ashford, it doesn't matter. I watched them against A&M. They can't throw the ball. So through 4 games, he's on the field, but he only has 1 reception for 10 yards. And I'm like, man, Jair, man, you'd be lighting it up over here.
Yeah.
It would be a continuation of what it was last year where he was averaging 24 yards per game. So through 3 games, I guess, with North Texas, like how many catches, what would his stats have been if you had to just roughly guess what his stats would have been?
I mean, staying healthy, and you got to figure in, Chandler's only played, a game and a half. I still think, it seemed like Jair, when he was on the field for North Texas and when he was healthy, he got his. I mean, he had a touchdown, I feel like it seemed like every game. So, I mean, I'm saying at this point in the season, he's probably got 2 touchdowns and over 200 yards.
I think I feel like Stone would have just thrown it up to him.
Yeah.
It would have worked.
Like, Yeah, and it would have worked.
It would have worked.
Yeah. So yeah, I
Colin-
mean, maybe even 3 touchdowns at this point. Like I said, it seemed like to me when he was healthy, he was almost guaranteed a touchdown a game. And it seemed like every time he caught it, he took it to the house. So yeah, I mean, I think that he's one of those, especially the Auburn struggles. I think that probably would have been beneficial to stay and kind of prove it one more year.
Colin, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, I Jair was great when he was here. So I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that he's on the field not getting thrown to, he's been so used to getting just pelted with passes and just catch radius, catching
Yeah.
everything. So
And I could see again, it's like if Hugh Freeze wants you assume it's like, all right, we're gonna have a pass game with Hugh Freeze, and then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, we don't have a quarterback.
right.
That's what I was going to say. Is I think talent wise, did he make the right the team to transfer to? I mean, I think if you put him in a team, I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's one of the air raid teams that airs it out. I mean, I think he is a Power 5 player. I think that
Yeah.
he may have just made the wrong choice on which team he went to, but
Like, dude, go to you can go to any. I mean, heck, even if you would have gone to, let's just say, like Oklahoma or something like that. Like if you would have
Yeah.
gone to Arkansas, like if you would have
Yeah.
gone to, I mean, South Carolina with Spencer Rattler or something. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of options you can. But I do think again the decision was kind of right. The school is wrong. I like how you phrased that.
Yeah.
All right. We'll roll through these next ones here because Varkey's Gums at Arkansas. How surprised are we that he hasn't been able to break their 2 deep and has 0 receptions through 4 games? How surprised is it?
Honestly,
oh,
sorry.
Go ahead, Colin.
I was just gonna say, honestly, it's weird to me because he like committed then decommitted, right, and then recommitted. Isn't that how that went
Yeah.
at Arkansas?
Yeah.
So I guess that's why. I don't know. The fact that he's third string tight end and he was amazing here kind of is odd to me because here I feel like he would have been a big focal point of the offense.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's one of those that I think should have stayed at North Texas a few more years. There's some that will go through this list, and the NIL money comes into play, and you're like, yes, there's a reason they left.
Right.
You can't blame them. He's not one of them because I think he was North Texas. There was people in the NIL that was working to get him taken care of, and I don't know the details, but I don't know if he got that much more going to Arkansas. And now that he's not playing, it's like he's one of those that definitely should have stayed. I mean, he had the interview, the podcast with Sonoy, and he's like, I'm committed, everything's going great. And then one day after practice, nobody knows, and he's randomly in the portal. So yeah, I mean, I think it was a weird deal. Like Colin said, commits to Arkansas, then he's at Cal, and I think it was just a young kid that really got caught up in the game. And I think I haven't talked to him or anything, but he, especially seeing the playing time, I think it may have be one of those scenarios where he's wishing he would have at least stayed at North Texas another year or two and progressed, because I don't think he's at Power 5 level now. I think he would have been a beast at the G5 level. He was day one, but he's not ready for Power 5 football yet.
Yeah. And Arkansas, I mean, obviously, I just watched Arkansas play LSU. It's like Arkansas is starting a true freshman at tight end right now. So it's not even like they have this senior over here.
Yeah.
Jake Roberts at Baylor has actually been solid. Four games, 7 receptions, 41 yards. So not lighting it up, but 7 receptions, 41 yards. And they got shut down pretty much by Texas. So you take away that game. But Jake Roberts, that's another one. I don't know. I'll throw it to you. JD, what do you think?
I mean, I don't know how much he'd have been used in this offense. I think this is kind of like the Jair Auburn. I mean, Baylor's a bad football team this year, but Baylor's a good education. He is seeing the field. I think in the style of offense they're running, he's probably going to be, if he wants to play at the next level, it's probably beneficial for him to go there. Kind of like with Gums, would love to see him. He finally seemed like he was
Gums, I think, would have fit this offense a little bit like the North Texas offense.
Yes.
More so. And Roberts is more of a blocker / short.
Especially with with Rodgers. I mean, we've seen like he's almost automatic in that mid-range passing game. Varkey's, I think, could have been a huge weapon of, getting the ball short and letting him go to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roberts, he was a guy that you hated to see leave, but I always felt like he was probably better suited for that style of offense.
Yes. All right. So shorter, we understand. Gums should have stayed, and Roberts, we understand. We can go through Asher Alberding real quick because he wasn't a huge part at North Texas. He is listed as second tight end at Cal, so I think he's more of a blocker over there, from what I understand. So we won't spend too long on him. Larry Nixon to Auburn, actually the only starter on this list. 15 tackles through 4 games, 1 tackle for loss. So he's not lighting it up over there, but still, good to see him get 15 tackles. So I think that one does make sense. And that one always made sense to me because Auburn was rebuilding in a way that needed players that could play defense. And so that one made sense to me. What do y'all think?
I mean, I'd like him here, obviously, because it would help. But I think that, like you said, him being the only starter and making a difference on the team, it's good for him just to play at that level. So,
yeah. Watching the A&M game, I watched bits and pieces of it. I mean, but it seemed like he was always around the ball. You could definitely tell his talent, like he was up to that level. In a group text, I was saying, he would be a difference maker on this defense. Obviously, I mean that's a huge loss. Sure. That's something we don't. When we talk about the defensive problems early on, I mean, he's a guy that I don't think we gave enough credit to leaving that a big enough void. But to hear him, hear Morris, talk about, it wasn't an easy decision for him. He got a ton of money, but he loved North Texas. It wasn't like I'm taking my bag, like nothing like that. I mean, it was like I have to do what's best for my family. But if the money was the same, he would still be at North Texas right now. And I think that speaks volumes about the culture and at North Texas. So that part of the story was sad that it was just strictly an NIL casualty.
Yeah. All right, last two. Deshaun Gaddy goes to Ole Miss. 4 tackles in 4 games, no pass breakups and no interceptions. This one really hurts me because we loved Deshaun Gaddy since and he was obviously a multi-year starter, a multi-year guy. And I'm like, okay, Ole Miss, I understood it to a degree. Because honestly, at North Texas, the last few years, like with the way the defense has gone, it's been like, all right, are we even using him right?
Yeah.
But that's one where it's like, if he stays, I think he makes a pretty big difference on this defense, at least at safety or corner, like wherever they wanted to play him. So that one hurts. But I am a little sad that he's not able to crack the rotation at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's like you said, with this defense, there was times that with the past defense that we didn't think he was playing right. I think he was kind of more of a safety. We had more of a coverage corner, but with the 3 safeties in this defense, and we've got true freshmen playing or a walk-on freshman in the safety, I think that he would have definitely been in the 2 deep and definitely playing. And I mean, Gaddy was one of my favorite recruits, since I've been doing this. So
we loved
that was one of the ones you hated, and then now seeing that he's not, getting the playing time and stuff, that's one of the ones that you kind of wish would have stayed, and then you think it might have been beneficial for him to stay.
Cam Robertson goes to SMU. This was the big one as far as a young player goes, because obviously we were all like, damn, lose transfer portal to SMU, all this stuff. But through 4 games, he has not quite done. And this might be more of a projection for SMU. SMU might be looking at him as a project or whatnot. But I think if he was at North Texas, it would not be a project situation. I think Cam Robertson would be a significant player on this defense. So through 4 games, 5 tackles, 1 TFL, no, not on the 2 deep, at least that I read going into last week's game. So Cam Robertson, he probably got paid a lot, I assume.
Yeah.
Probably got signed off on that SMU NIL deal.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know if it made a ton of sense to leave.
Yeah, sorry.
No, Colin, go ahead. My bad.
I was gonna say outside of the money, it's weird because, like you said, he wouldn't have been a project here. He's a project at SMU. Yes, SMU is going to the ACC next year, but they're still in the AAC. So it's weird to make that kind of like what feels like, I don't want to say it's a lateral move, but it's not quite a vertical, jump to like for example, Larry Nixon going to Auburn. That's not. I don't think it's the same type of jump. And now, obviously, if the money's there, then that's going to make a difference. But in terms of playing time and development, I'm not really sure that would be the right move.
Yeah. He looked like, to me, I watched the TCU SMU game. He got quite a bit of playing time second half. Mm-hmm. He looks bigger to me. Like I said, I think he's put on some weight since he's been to SMU. He's more of a kind of like a 3-down lineman there. But yeah, I think that especially with the defense, I think he'd have definitely got some playing time here. But this is one of those that, to me, I just felt like there was some dirty recruiting going on, because it was just kind of like there was no talk about transfer and everything's good, and then all of a sudden you're in the portal, and then all of a sudden you're at SMU, and it's like there was something going on in the back channels, that something going on behind the scenes, I guess I'll say.
Yeah. Last thing, JD, we talked about this a little bit before, but for the transfer portal for North Texas, what moving forward in off seasons to come, we can start with this off season. Like, how many transfers do you think North Texas should be taking, like year in, year out? And or does it even matter the amount? Or is it just the quality? Like, do you want to see like 3 or 4, P5 guys drop down or something like that? Like, how are you approaching the portal if you're Eric Morris moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you got to look at the guys that left us, like say a Jake Roberts. He was an all-conference guy here. Now he's broke the 2 deep, but he's playing a little bit at Baylor. But I think we need to, as a program, take a look at these guys like, Auburn transfers, Ole Miss transfers. These guys, just because they can't break the 2 deep at Ole Miss and stuff, doesn't mean they're not going to be players here. And I think that the staff has made several comments between, Morris at the quarterback club and, stuff he said in the press conferences and stuff, that I think we may see a transition. We've got 15 commits so far. I think there's about to be some movement on that, some additions and some subtractions, and we can talk about more. But I could see us filling this last part of the recruiting class with several JUCOs and transfer guys. I think they're going to try to get some guys that are ready to come in, especially with the portal. I mean, when you get a guy from the portal, he can't just transfer back out until he graduates. So I think that's, we've seen with these, all the guys that transferred out were high school kids that we recruited, developed, and then they bounce on. So I think as a program like North Texas, yeah, you need to get some high school kids, but at the same time, if you get some of these transfers in, it's not as easy for them just to have a good season and turn around and leave.
That's a good point. I honestly, even with now that the NCAA is actually enforcing the one-time transfer thing, like if you can get a transfer from a solid school that has a little bit of experience, even just with like 2 years of eligibility left, they can't they can't leave again. That's you're basically looking at them locked in for whatever 2 years or however many years are left.
The only bad side is you look at a Macklin. He's taken off. He's blown up. He's had 2 good seasons. He graduates in summer. He's a guy that I think North Texas needs to be worried about probably transferring next year, especially the way he's playing right now.
Yeah,
that makes sense. The way I look at it is, look, you lose Larry Nixon to be a starter at Auburn. Go get a linebacker that's a backup at an SEC school. Like you kind of have to make those trade-offs to a degree. That's where I think the really good teams you can do that. I understand like Texas State and all them have been like glorified for their portal use, Texas State, Colorado, and whatnot. But like, I still don't think the complete overhaul from year to year is anything what any coach wants.
No,
and even with the success Colorado and Texas State and other schools have had, it feels very short term.
yeah.
No.
And that's where you have to be able to sustain high school recruiting, and that's hopefully where North Texas is headed moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think fill gaps. I think, and even more said in the quarterback club. They didn't know Nixon was leaving. That's a linebacker's probably a position. I think Weslowski's probably going to be a very good player for North Texas, but that's a position. If you knew Larry Nixon was leaving in December, you would have probably got some portal guys in here, just some guys that had playing time. I mean, you look at a guy like Chandler Rogers. Like if you could have brought in a linebacker of that equivalent that's had 18, 20 FBS starts. That's a lot better than playing a freshman or a redshirt freshman that hasn't started.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting moving forward. But all right, JD, that's all we had. Thank you for joining us, man. I'm sure I'll be happy with North Texas' performance on Saturday after a convincing 49-0 win. I think that's what Colin's about to predict. So
Famous last words.
Yeah, famous last words. Do you have a prediction? Have you made your prediction yet? I don't want to push
what's
you on the
yours?
spot if not.
No, I haven't. I think we kind of spoke on earlier. I mean, I think us getting to that 40 point range, 42, I would love for us to be able to keep them that 17-point range. So I'll say 42-17. I think we could end that, have that the final score. I think that's a really positive game heading into Navy.
Yeah. All right, JD. For everybody who doesn't know him, y'all should at North Texas Eagle on Twitter, gomeandgreen.com, the best forum for North Texas fans. Yeah, thanks, JD.
Thank you guys for having me. Colin, congrats on the new dog.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you guys.
All right, Colin. Last podcast, which was last Thursday or
It
so.
was last week.
It feels like a long time ago when you're on a bye week. I don't know. The body
yeah,
clock
it's an
needs to
extra.
reset.
It's an extra week. I don't know if it's a body clock. It's probably just the actual amount of time that passed. But
Jet
unsure
lag.
here.
Pod
Unsure.
lag
Pod lag.
from one pod to another. We talked about the games, the AAC games in week 4 that we were interested in how the results would play out. Well, we got those results back.
We did.
Colin, and some of them are good, some of them are not good for the AAC, but also for North Texas, as we just want North Texas to get to 6 wins. And I don't care how bad the opponents are. I just want to get to 6 wins. So here are the results. You tell me which ones stand out to you. UAB kind of hangs with Georgia, loses 49-21. Temple gets blown out by Miami, 41-7. UTSA is blown out by UTSA is blown out by Tennessee, 45-14. SMU loses to TCU, 34-17. Rice loses to USF, 42-29, the only conference game. And Memphis loses to Missouri, 34-27. Which of those ones do you want are catches your attention?
Instantly, the two that catch my attention is Memphis and UAB. I want UAB to be like one of the worst teams they play this year, and if the fact that they didn't let Georgia hang more than 49 on them and they put up 21 is concerning, because that means that they're somewhat competent.
Well, yeah, even through the first half into
Yeah.
the second half, it was not comfortable for Georgia.
Yeah. And then Memphis. Memphis wasn't really one of those teams. It was in the stretch of death, right? But we thought that would be one of the teams, along with UTSA, that they had the possibility to be. It's looking more and more like that's not going to happen. And then the fact that they did this after Navy almost beat them makes Navy even a harder opponent. Missouri is obviously not like an SEC powerhouse, but they're still an SEC school. So, again,
top 25 this year.
Are they top 25 right now?
Now, this week. I believe they're number 23.
Okay. Dang.
just
Yeah.
moved in there.
There you go. Yeah. That's scary to me. And then you have UTSA. I guess we can even talk about them.
I'm out on UTSA.
I'm out on UTSA, but I don't think they're going to be a pushover still.
Well, look, they haven't had Frank Harris the past 2 weeks, right? So we'll give them a little bit of, a pass there against Army and Tennessee. But this is not the Tennessee. This isn't your older brother's Tennessee or UTSA team. This isn't the UTSA team that against Tennessee, I think 2 years ago would have only lost this game like 28-10 or something like that. Like, I don't know. They got blown out by Tennessee. It was a blowout in the first half. The game was over. It was 35-0. Like, there was nothing to hold on to from UTSA's perspective. And they'll get Frank Harris back. They're on a bye this week, so then they'll start conference play next week. But I don't think UTSA is that good. Like, I'm not saying North Texas is better.
I think we need to hold the phone on. We don't think UTSA is good still.
I'm gonna say I don't think UTSA. I think UTSA ends the year. Look, they're 1-3 right now. They're gonna have to go 5-3 in conference to make a bowl.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying is. I think 5-3 is probably like the most likely outcome or something. But I don't know. That's a 6-6 team. And Houston's not a good team. You lost to Houston. That's a bad loss.
That's true. Houston was a bad loss.
Houston almost lost Houston did lose to Rice. Like, I just don't think UTSA is where they want to be or need to be. I think they're a 6-6 team this year. 5-3 in conference, 1-3 in non-conference. That's what they are. And if that's, if that includes a win over North Texas, I won't be happy. But that's kind of, I can't say North Texas is better than UTSA right now. I'm just saying I don't think UTSA is good.
Good, yeah.
SMU. Again, this is very much like them against their big brother. To a degree,
yeah.
Like you're not going to win this game most of the time, even if you believe you're going to win this game. And then we've all been in that situation before. Yeah, they got outplayed pretty comfortably in my opinion, and they did miss some opportunities, sure, but I think TCU was much better, and so I don't look at SMU as being a juggernaut this year. Like they're not a top 40 team in the country to me. Rice. Colin, I sent you a screenshot after Rice broke a long touchdown to take the lead And then right after that, USF took the lead right back and then won the game by 13 points.
Weren't they projected to be like bottom and then second bottom teams in the conference this year? Both of them?
That's a good question. I don't know. But USF is not a bad team. That's all I know.
No,
North
USF's
Texas
pretty good.
North Texas doesn't play USF, thankfully. But this
Or
is what we
Rice.
talked about. This is the difference between the American and Conference USA, because if you go watch Conference USA, it's like UTEP, Jacksonville State, La Tech, like awful football going on there. This is not
South
awful.
Florida. The preseason media poll had South Florida at 13th, Rice at 12th. Charlotte was the lowest.
Yeah,
14th.
and none of those teams, to me, are like bottom 20, bottom 15 in the country bad. I don't know where like the ratings have them as far as like SP plus and stuff, but I don't think they're like bottom 10, bottom 15 bad. And yeah, that's kind of tough for North Texas. Like you said, UAB, not horrible. Now, the only bad result along with UTSA, in my opinion, was Temple getting blown up by Miami. And Miami's a good team, obviously, beat A&M. But I thought Temple would be able to score a little bit more than 7. We've talked about their offense at length at times with different people. So, maybe Temple's an easier game than we're thinking. I don't know. Next week we're gonna preview the American a good amount. We're gonna have on. We're gonna try to have Steve back on from the from the off season. Sorry, and talk some AAC football going into the year. But I'm still feeling. I don't know. UTSA I feel better about. Temple I feel better about. UAB not as good about. Rice they don't play Rice this year.
They don't play Rice.
I keep forgetting that. Memphis I feel worse about. SMU I feel the same about.
Here's the thing, though. We need to see a conference game. We're basing all this off of an FIU loss and a bounce back La Tech win against an equally bad team. So I'm not trying to. On paper, right now, they lose to all these teams except for UAB. If we're basing it off of like
Temple,
maybe not Temple, but you get what I'm saying. Like we're basing this off of them beating a really bad La Tech team.
Yes.
Now there is optimism. Obviously, Chandler Rogers looked a lot better. I'm not saying that there's no reason for optimism. I'm just saying I think we need to see what week 1 of conference brings us before we start claiming that we can beat UTSA.
I don't know, Colin. I don't know. I feel good right now. I feel
you
good.
Can feel good all you want. You felt good preseason going 7-5.
No, Colin. Why did I feel good about this team going into the year?
Because of Chandler Rogers.
Because of Chandler Rogers.
Right.
And now he's back. I've never wavered.
You whipped a pen out. That's crazy.
I've never wavered on Chandler Rogers. With this team, with Chandler Rogers being at the helm, I've never wavered on them being good. Or at least, not bad.
Not bad.
Without him, I literally said it. I was like, I want to draw my prediction down a full win to 6-6 going into the year with Stoner at quarterback, which still would have been wrong. But like, if Stoner was the quarterback for 12 games, like we're not winning 6 games. But if Rogers was the quarterback, 6 wins, they'd be 3-1 right now.
They would be 3-1.
Well, they'd be 2-1 with Evelyn Christian coming up, but you get the point. All right, let's do pick 'em.
It's time. What's the spread of this game?
We need a soundboard, Colin.
It's time. We do, but I don't know if StreamYard supports that.
I actually think it does.
Well,
check this out.
Get on it.
I'm just gonna.
You having its time already?
Shit. Check this out.
Okay.
All right, this is dance pop. Ready?
That was. Okay, stop. Please stop. Please.
That's it. Oh.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Green Room Podcast.
I was about to say this is the start of a crazy podcast, bro.
I don't even know what this is about. This is like true crime mixed with like something else.
No, Colin, it's dance pop.
Okay. There's no spread for this game apparently.
No, they don't come out yet.
Oh. Why? It's Thursday.
FCS games don't come out till Friday night or Saturday. All right, everybody.
Can you please turn that off? Thank you. Jesus Christ.
I wanted to fade it out, but
I want it to be gone. That's what I wanted.
All right, everybody. There's our drop for our pick'em. moving forward.
That's not gonna. Please don't make that the drop. Please do something else.
Can't wait.
Please do something else.
I can't wait. All right, Colin, do you have your pick'ems?
I honestly forgot we're doing a pick'em. So no, I don't. So if you want to
Colin,
start,
it's
and
in the rundown. I sent you.
but I
it's
was
in the
focused on. But
rundown.
I can make these up quick. I was focused on all the other important stuff you had.
All right,
in there.
Colin, let's do it. I'm starting it right now. Abilene Christian over under 16.5 points.
Over.
Sheesh.
Yeah, that was an easy over.
Sheesh. I'm scared now. Hold on.
What do you think I was gonna go under?
I didn't think about it. They scored 17 against Central Arkansas, 20 against Incarnate Word, 45 against Prairie View, 31 against North Carolina.
It's going over.
Colorado.
What a bad line. That's a bad line, Brune.
Is that a bad line?
That's a bad line.
All right, well, I'm taking the under just to spite you.
Yeah, I need to make up some ground because I'm 3 down, I think, or am I 2 down? I don't remember.
I think you're 2 down. Here, let me. Actually, I think you're only 1 down now. Yeah, you're only 1 down because we tied 1 last week. 6-5 right now going into it. Okay, I guess that was a bad line. I don't know. I'm scared.
I guess that was a bad line. I don't. Your demeanor changed so quick.
I was gonna say 17.5, but I was like, that's a lot. I don't know. Yeah, it should have said 17.5. I just cost me a whole point trying to sneak one by
that
you.
means they can't even get 2 touchdowns on a field goal because of that line.
I know how much 17 is, Colin. Thank you.
I just wanted to make
All
sure
right.
that you knew.
Do you got another one, or are you ready?
Oh,
to go?
I forgot if we do both. Yeah, I have one.
I'll go.
I have one though, if you want.
Okay, go ahead.
Chandler Rogers over under 350 yards passing.
Well, I think 350 passing.
For context, he had 313 against La Tech, and he had 201 in the second half of
this is a bad
FIU.
line, Colin.
Okay.
I'm saying under.
Okay, I'll go over just to spite you again. I was gonna pick under, but I thought you might.
No, go ahead. Go under, Colin. Go
I'll
under.
go over. I need to make up ground, Bruni. Damn it! I just scared my rescue dog.
Bandit.
He's cowering under my desk now.
Bandit's not ready for this type of
energy
outrage from Colin.
That's 2 really bad lines. I just completely cost myself that point that I already gained on you. That sucks. All right, your turn.
We're back to 1-1 now. We're just counting these up before the
preemptively.
Preemptively setting bad lines. All right, here's an interesting one for you, Colin. Average yards per carry for North Texas. Over under. I gotta think for a second. I can't make this a bad line here.
You can't.
Over
we have
under
2 already.
Over under 5.7.
Average carry for North Texas over under 5.7. Over.
I'll go under. That's a lot of yards.
Yeah, well, they had 5.3 against La Tech, and if they can't do better than that against ACU, then I don't know what we're doing
I'm just saying
I don't know what we're doing here. That's all I'm saying.
Kneels at the end of the game, taking some knees.
If a knee makes it to where 5.7 turns into 5.6, then they didn't deserve it anyways. Okay. That'd be
all right,
crazy.
Colin,
actually,
your last one. Oh, actually, we gotta do more this week. We gotta do 3 each because last week we.
Oh yeah, because we had the Stone Earl ones.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do this. Over. Ooh, I like this. It's gonna be hard to track though. We'll have to really pay attention. Over under 1.5 40-yard plays.
North Texas.
Yep.
Sheesh. I think that's a good line. I think that's a pretty good.
Pretty good
line.
I think that's the first good line we've had today.
That's a pretty good one right there.
That's the first one.
I liked my 5.7 yards per carry one for the record. I was fine either way. I'm gonna go. I want to go over. I'm gonna go over. I don't love that.
All right, I wanted to go over, so I'm gonna do it. Damn it!
Okay, I'm going over as well.
God, you got me fired up.
Just erase that one from the books, but there we go. Okay. Think of another defensive one real quick. Over under, Colin. Here we go. Over under 2.5 sacks for North Texas.
Ooh. How many did they have against? They had 1 against La Tech.
Yeah.
Over under 2.5 sacks.
We'll see if they have rush the passer. I'm good either way here.
I'm gonna
I
go
like-
over. That's a risky play by me to go over, though.
That is a
I will
risky play.
say. I will say that that's risky. All right, my turn.
Yep, last one for you.
I gotta give some love to the kicker.
Longest field goal over under
Yeah.
42. No, 39 and a half.
Well, he had a 48-yarder last game, so I'm sure that.
They shouldn't be having to kick 48-yard field goals.
Now I'm gonna go over under 2.5
Over,
field
under.
goals.
2.5 field goals?
Yep.
I think that's another bad line, Colin. I'm taking the under.
Damn it! I was hoping you'd bite, but I'll go over. To
I-
have faith
you
in my
notice I
kicker.
read all 3 of your plays, Colin. You notice that?
Did you? What was the first one?
Chandler Rogers 350 passing.
And what was the second one?
The 1.5 40 yards.
Yeah, I'm about to get absolutely smashed.
So
I made those lines for me, and you
yeah,
took
you're
mine.
thinking of you instead of just making good lines. See, this is why we have to have a system to where you take the opposite.
All right, I'll take the opposite of the 350.
You already did take the opposite of 350.
Oh, it was the one I
you
didn't take the opposite.
You have the same on the 1.5 40 plus yard plays.
Yeah, I really think that's going to be over too.
ahead,
But
leave
I'll go
Leave
under.
it.
No, I'll go under.
Set bad lines. Keep
I
setting bad
said I'll go
lines.
under. I'll go under.
Watch it be under.
You said it was a good line.
I'll lose my mind.
I thought it was.
I thought it was a good line.
I think
but
it's a good line. I think it'll be 2.
Okay. All right.
I think it'll be 2.
Okay.
Did you already do
We
your
have
third one?
those. Now we need our score predictions.
What was
Colin.
your third one?
The 2.5 sacks.
All right.
Okay. Score predictions. Brune, Colin.
Let's go. ACU is going to give us their best shot.
You already said over 16.5 points for ACU, so
I know. I'm going to go 20 for ACU.
look how deep in thought he is.
And I'm going to go 48 for North Texas. I had to rub the temples there for that one.
Yeah, I know.
Jimmy Neutron it up.
Okay. I'm gonna go lower scoring a little bit. Obviously. Give me 38 to 13.
38 to 13.
Sorry, make that 35 to 13.
35 to 13. This is like a conference line. I could see this line for like North Texas against. That could have been a North Texas FIU line. That might have been what you predicted.
This is the blowout that was supposed to happen. All right, this is what should have been against
a
FIU.
much lesser of opponent.
Against a non-FBS opponent. All right, this is what should have happened against FIU. So, all right, there you go. There are our pick'ems. Again, I have a 6-5 lead going into the week. We both have 3 plays and 1 prediction each. So, possibility here of 7 points on the board. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, hit us with the outro music. Hit us with the outro music, Bruni.
Oh, that's what I was gonna do.
Hit us with the outro.
That's what I was gonna do. Hold on.
I knew you were ready for it.
All right, everybody. This has been a great podcast. Thank you to JD for coming on. Thank you for Colin Mitchell for joining me once again. As always, leave a like, comment, share, subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter.
This is so loud.
Green Room UNT out there.
Can you
now.
turn it down? Yeah, and then once we're done, you got to raise it all the way back up for like 2 seconds, and then
I got it.
Okay,
I got it under control. All right. Oh, you can fade tracks in and out. Okay, we'll do that later. Yeah, follow us on Twitter, Green Room UNT, Spotify, all that stuff, and we'll be back after the game on Saturday night, Sunday morning, sometime. Whenever we get the availability to do so. So, thank you all for supporting us on Twitter and
buy shirts,
buy the merch, buy content.
I know y'all didn't buy hoodies because it's too hot outside, but it's gonna be coming up. So buy yourself a North Texas hoodie.
Getting cold here soon.
There. Or buy yourself any other team hoodie. Hey, if we have some ACU fans here who really just are trying to get some intel, buy yourself. They don't have ACU stuff. I don't even know why. They definitely don't have ACU stuff.
This is like this is now turned into like whenever you're asleep and the infomercials start coming on and you just
Yeah.
hear the music in the background, be like,
Yeah.
come get a shirt.
Yeah.
Home field. All right, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Little drop about to happen? There's a drop.
I hate everything.
All right. Fade out. Fade out.
Well, no, if you go loud, you can't. Never mind. Just end the damn podcast.